Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Melody McAllister, and I'm the Teacher Goals Community Facilitator, and I'm here with Brad Weinstein, the founder and CEO of Teacher Goals. Thank you for joining us from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, whether you're seeing this live or you catch the replay. And a special shout out to our Connected School Communities Facebook group. Please stick around and chat along with us, and a lucky community member and a friend will win a free registration for our first annual Teacher Goals Connected School Communities that's taking place in March. And the way that we're going to pick that winner is if you're commenting. So we're just going to pick a random comment. And if you win, not only will you get the free registration, but you'll get to choose a friend to go along with you. But tonight we have a very special guest with us. She is an amazing educator, but she's also an author, the CEO founder of an entire EduMatch umbrella, and a dedicated leader in building and supporting educator communities worldwide. And while we may think of the publishing side of EduMatch, there is also the EduMatch Foundation, which gives grants to educators working on change. This phenomenal woman and change maker is Dr. Sarah Thomas, and we will be talking with her about the power of community. But before we get into the really good message here, how are you doing, Brad and Dr. Sarah Thomas?
I'm
Either one of you can answer.
I'll start. I'm doing great. I'm excited to meet Dr. Sarah Thomas. Seen you online for years, I think, without actually ever having the pleasure of meeting you. So I'm excited to have you on tonight. And it's nice to have everyone here tonight. And I'm really interested in hearing more about what you do and everything behind EduMatch. So I'm just excited to be here.
Thank you both so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and the feeling is absolutely mutual. I love everything that you all do here in the Teacher Goals community, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with Melody over the years, through EduMatch, and so I'm just super excited to be here, and I'm honored that y'all asked me. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it is an honor, and always an honor to share the same space with you. And loving all the people already chiming in. Let us know where you're coming in from. This is so exciting. So somebody's coming in from Colombia. This is a worldwide, which I love this because EduMatch is worldwide as well. And so one of the things that we started with Teacher Goals is a community on Facebook. And long before communities on Facebook were ever a thing, you were starting a community. Your story is pretty incredible. But before we get to your story, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Why is community important to you?
Oh man, community is everything. I'll take it. I'll kind of do a little rewind, like a few years. Well, actually, many years ago. I know that growing up, a lot of times I felt isolated. In my area, I felt like I didn't have a whole lot of people to connect with along, like like growing up as a kid and, kind of being an outcast or whatever. And so that kind of stuck with me. And I also felt that same feeling like very early on in my career as an educator. So once I found out about what folks were doing online and just, amazing communities, I was just like, wow, this is exactly what I've been missing. And I just, I can't get enough of this. And I just like jumped in feet first to the whole PLN. It's been, I've been part of like Twitter, Facebook, Voxer, et cetera, for the last 8 years. And it's totally changed my career. It's totally changed my life. It's changed me as a person. So I love the comment community helps hold each other up. Absolutely. After the year plus that we've been through, now we need that community more than ever, just to sustain one another and to to pour into each other's cups. So absolutely, community is just so crucially important.
And it's, you said that you felt like an outsider, and that's so, like, it's hard for me to imagine that because like I have you on this pedestal and you are a leader of so many. But I do feel like what you said is true for a lot of us, because I think even early on, Brad, chime in and tell me what you think, but I feel like we started out in silos. Like it's very easy for us teachers to like shut the door, stay in our room, and not know what else is going on in the community. How do you feel, Brad?
Absolutely. Online was, I'm an introvert. I really am not, my family doesn't believe that I speak out publicly and I go out and do conferences and PD and stuff like that. So that's how I found my voice, back around 2014 with Teacher Goals. Same thing. I started to connect with people online. I started to break down the walls in my school. I couldn't even get in my classroom to go and talk to other teachers hardly at all because we didn't have the same prep periods, right? So that's when I really started to connect with other people and became really close to people I'd never met in real life. So I started seeing the power of not just community, but a global community and an online community.
Yeah, there's some technical difficulties. I don't want to talk over you, Brad. Are you finished?
I am good. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That is the worst awkward, when I'm trying to listen, but I don't want to talk over anybody. So please just let me know. But yeah, and some educators are talking about, community education, but, oh, and from Missouri, thank you. My home state. Hey, Missouri. Um, and I don't even know that early on in my career that I understood that there was this community, not just like the outside community, but even inside where you're working, like developing community with parents, developing community with businesses. And I feel like a lot of the problems that we're dealing with, teachers are constantly taking on the problems of the world. We are like the problem solvers, and we're amazing at that, but we're also very tired. And I feel like oftentimes it just shows that there needs to be even more input from the community around us to step up and pull together to create a lot of solutions that we're facing during this pandemic.
And I feel like
And I'm sorry, that was me that I just heard. But yeah, so it's so great. Um, how did you create? Now, do you mind sharing with us the story of how you actually created the EduMatch community?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't. I should say no, I don't. I don't mind at all sharing that with you all. But absolutely. So EduMatch, it's almost like the thing that almost was not. If I'm remembering from the very beginning, and it's going to sound like a fairy tale. September 26, 2014. Woo. No, but I was on Voxer with a friend of mine, and we were just kind of chatting. And so at the time, she was working in a district specialist role, and she was talking about fantasy sports and math. And so I had just finished seeing my cousin in Haiti, and he used to teach math in New York City schools. And he gave me a book about fantasy sports and math. And so I said, okay, this is cool. It would be really cool if you and he had a conversation. And I know this other gamification guy, and, if the three of you got together and just had a conversation and saw what would come out of it. And then at that point, the light bulb just kind of went off. I was just like, okay, wait a minute, is there something out there that will connect person A to person B to person C, and you all just have these conversations? And so I looked, and of course there were Twitter chats, there were Voxer groups, but there was nothing that was like directly putting people in context. So at that time, I just set up a Twitter account with a very ugly logo. It was my first time using Google Draw. It was like a heart with a lightning bolt through it. And everybody was just like, is this like match.com? And I was just like, no, it's not a dating site. So, so the very first person, like I tweeted out what I wanted to do with it. And the very first person who tweeted back was actually from Australia. And he was just like, here is, a little bit about me. So I saw Cyberman, his list of hashtags. So I just kind of matched up the bio to the hashtags, tweeted out over the course of 24 hours and asked him at the end, how did it go? And he said, yeah, I met like 20, 30 people. This is awesome. You should keep it going. So at that point, I set up a website, I set up a Google form. And as people signed up, then the database kind of grew. And then, we could start bling bling tagging people, when matches came up. So that was how EduMatch first started. But then as people brought their ideas, then we just kind of started spinning off from there. So we started doing we did a Voxer group, we did Twitter chats, we did podcasts, we eventually started doing books and the nonprofit and professional learning, became a Google for Education partner. And this is just kind of how it went over the course of the last 7 years, just learning and growing. And really it's co-created. Everybody who joins the community brings a part of themselves, and that's how we've grown. So shout out to everybody who's part of it for just just bringing it together and just iterating.
Yeah. Can anybody be a part of EduMatch community or like any educator?
Whoops, I'm sorry. I was trying
Like,
to
is
unmute.
that's
But
okay.
yeah.
Is there like a sign-up sheet? What do you have to do to be a part
Nah,
of this community?
it's open. It's there's multiple different ways that folks can enter. They can enter, through our Facebook groups, through our Voxer groups, through they can connect with us on Twitter. There's multiple different ways of entry. We have information on our nonprofit website about how to get mini grants. We have let me see what else. Our books are on, a website of their own as well. So there's we're open. We are here for all educators. So for educators by educators.
Amen, sister. And so when I put up this edumatch.org, everything falls in. If you go to this website, you'll see the foundation and the community and everything, like where you started, and just the different websites you can go to. So Renee, actually, I don't want to like dismiss this because this is super serious, but Renee shares that connecting realistically with teachers across racial divides is heartbreakingly difficult. And I didn't really like prep you with this or anything, but I know that this is something important to your heart and to the mission of EduMatch. How do we has this like how do you deal with this, and or do you just want to tell us about your mission?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. I saw that comment come in as I was talking, and thank you so much, Renee, for bringing that up. And you are so right. 2021, whatever year we're in, 2021, 2022.
Barely.
Like right now, it seems very incendiary. Like there's always been division, but right now it's like it's at a head. So I can speak to the fact that within the EduMatch community, one of the things that we really believe in, two things, as a matter of fact. One is to make sure that everybody is represented at the table, included at the table, welcome to the table, loved at the table. Like there's space for us all, and we want to amplify voices. So we do that as much as we can in as many ways as we can, be it through panel discussions, which we've done in the past, be it through publishing, various books that you can check out, just so many different ways, and through our conversations, through our organic conversations. And I would say that kind of ties into my second point, specifically with the original EduMatch Voxer group. I would say that for a long time, that was the most active part of what we were doing. You have people in there that joined back in 2014, and they're still there every day to this date.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've witnessed that has really been a beautiful thing has been to see people make deeper connections. Not just on the surface level, but really getting to know one another. And that comes from talking in this community, day in, day out. And I'm not going to say all 500 people are active, but we have a core group of maybe 20 to 30 people who come in and check in on a regular basis. And when they do meet face to face, then a lot of people have said it feels like a high school reunion. Like I can say, I have a friend that came and joined us on Voxer in the Philippines, and we have never met face to face, but this feels like my sister. It's really an incredible feeling when you get to know people on that deeper level. You get to know their likes, their dislikes, how they grew up, get to know about their family. Just
Yes.
have those
That's how I feel
conversations.
about you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
same, same, absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like that allows for those difficult conversations where, the conversations are often polarizing. When you have them with strangers, they're often unfruitful. But when you have them with someone that like on that deeper level, then you're able to make some headway.
I think you just, gosh, I think that is worth its gold. If we don't talk about anything else tonight, like that right there was the mic drop moment. I
Oh,
mean, when we
thanks.
talk about, like, you're right, when we get together with people that we actually care about and we want to listen to them, we're not just going to shut them down because there's that love and that relationship, coming together, being that bridge for us. And just honestly, maybe I'm being a little nosy, but have you seen people change through this process?
Yeah, I've changed through the process. I could definitely say um thank you to the community. I'm a different person now than from when I started, because I got to know folks, who are on paper, maybe my complete opposite, and come to find out that we have a lot of common ground that, you know, we can work towards and build off of. And just the love is there, you know, like it's truly fam, you know. I know that like a couple years back at ISTE, they invited me to give an Ignite. So so I went up there, and I remember that they were just like, yeah, you know, you need to pivot a little bit. So I was trying to fill in some content on some slides. And so I was trying to describe EduMatch, and I was just like, okay, is it a community? Is it you know, like, what is it exactly? And then I just kind of, PLF came to mind, like instead of PLN, PLF, personal learning family. And really that's what we are, because, you know, we may fight with each other, but the love is there. We will fight together, you know. I know that there have been times where teachers were being treated very poorly, and we banded together and just kind of addressed that, you know, and showed support for one another in those times. So, you know, it really is a family.
Yeah. Brad, totally interrupt me because I know I talk a lot. So just let me know when you want to say something. But Renee, I just want to thank you too for just for your comment, and just this is such important conversation to have. And it's also what drew me to EduMatch, as well as not just the books, but you know, just the embracing of educators. And it's a global community. And you know, Teacher Goals is also a global community. So it's really cool that we're all in the same space tonight. And I'm so glad I'm here. Um, yes, we definitely have more in common with others than we realize. That is so true.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I really want to ask you, as a master community builder, what are the key ingredients in a thriving community?
Oh man. Well, there's definitely got to be that culture build up, you know, like that like I can tell you, in each of the EduMatch communities, then the culture is a little different in each one. Like in terms of how we roll, how we get down. But definitely establishing kind of a group culture together, like building it together, you know, like that's one thing that that I really like. Like I know that sometimes the lack of structure can drive some folks mad, but I don't know, for me, I kind of love it. I kind of thrive off the chaos, you know. So but seriously though, I would say that the absolute most important thing that kind of goes along with the culture is the trust. The trust has to be there. I know that one thing is that one kind of norm that we have, I guess an unspoken rule is like, what's said in the group stays in the group. You know, we're not here to, to put people, on blast and this, that, and the other. And I mean, nobody's saying anything like off kilter or anything like that, but just, folks open up and they share a lot about themselves. They're very vulnerable. So part of that, in order to keep that, and to keep folks feeling like they can be vulnerable and that they can share, then we definitely have that climate of trust in a group. And also the willingness just to explore and to reflect, because there's, our profession, it's a very very emotional profession, many times, and we have to be willing to do that self introspection and reflection in order to be better for our students. So so I would say that willingness to do that work is definitely another thing.
I really, really am glad that we're talking about this today. And I just feel it is so important. But yes, so trust, the willingness to work and to like be vulnerable. You have to have that trust in place so that you can grow. And yeah, I mean, I think that as human beings, we know where that's lacking. But then, and we see people being canceled all the time around us, on the news, on, social media platforms. But the thing is, we're never going to change or be better if we can't like put it out there, like, and just and have people walk alongside of us, especially as educators, where we can grow and lean on each other. Thank you for sharing. And I want to extend this to Brad too, because he's like created this phenomenal like network of educators also. So Brad, would you like to add anything to this?
Sure. So something, that I really pay a lot of attention to. And you said you've changed a lot through doing this, since I have too. But it has to do with people who are willing to help you learn and teach and to be patient with you, because an area I've grown in, for instance, is being more aware of the other people in my community and what their background is, where their perspective is, who they are as a person. Because, in my career, I've always not thought the right thing, and how that might impact somebody else that looks this way or talks this way or things like that, right? So I just find that, the more people I have that are friends or that are willing to tell me that what I said was not right, or not the right way of saying this, or this might be offensive, or that might be offensive, I'm like, and it's in a safe way. For example, like the picture, I always go back to the picture when we talk about the fence, and we talk about the crates, and we talk about, setting the crates up, and we talk about, giving, and I always thought about this, when we look at this, and I'm like, okay, this is a great picture of, equality. This is a great picture of diversity. And then all of a sudden I hear, holy crap, that picture is actually kind of that picture is actually not great at all, because it's actually demeaning. It's actually showing that certain groups of people need crates to be equal versus getting rid of the fence. You know what I mean? So, that's just one of the things through the years that I've been like, holy crap. And now I look at everything. Now I walk through schools, and I saw that poster recently, and I was like, did you know that poster is actually offensive, and actually, kind of hints at systemic racism and things like that. So that's a major way that I've thrived, I think, in the last, since joining Twitter, since being more involved. I might not have normally have been friends with people. I might not normally have had relationships. I might normally have had these perspectives of other people. So that's just one thing I want to throw out there, is that I've grown a lot just by being with such a diverse group of people that didn't have my same thoughts and values, and in fact changed my own perspectives in a lot of ways.
Amen, brother, is all I'm going to say. I hope I can say that. This is so true. I can personally attest to the fact that when I came back to teaching in 2015, and my boss thought, you need to be into tech, and Twitter was a part of that, like this global thing. I didn't know what I was doing, but Twitter opened up the silo for me. Like you said, Brad, like I was in my own world, and I was happy to continue in that own world, because whenever somebody challenged me, I didn't really have this responsibility to change. Like I could just keep on going. But I was challenged greatly, I was challenged. And instead of, just ignoring it, I started to explore it. And I am a better person, and I am definitely a part of EduMatch community. I used to work for EduMatch. I don't anymore, but that doesn't mean I'm still like a part of the educator community. And I love everything that we've talked about tonight. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Renee. Renee, you kind of like changed the course of this. I'm so glad that you're a part of this. And yes, we have to be able to talk to each other even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult, because that's when it really matters. Another comment, my employer has been rejecting people with teaching background. Okay, that is probably a whole new topic. We could explore it later. We are kind of coming to the end of our broadcast, but Renee kind of inspired me. So you need to consider something. Brad, we are having our first TeacherGoals Connected School Communities Conference coming up in March. And I feel like Renee might be a good candidate, and anybody watching, do you mind telling us like anything about this conference that you'd like to share?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we look at in community is breaking down walls, not having walls. But we also look within the walls. In our schools, it's very siloed. In our classrooms, it's very siloed. From administrator to teacher, it's very siloed. From school to community, it's very siloed. So when we look at school communities, it's more than just how to teach better in your classroom. It's also how to connect better outside of your classroom. It's also, if you're an organization or in the community, how do you support the school? Because you know what? These kids are going into your community. And if you want these kids to go into your community and be productive members and be contributors, and not just contributors, but changers, right? People that can actually make the community better. We need to invest in our schools more so than, the property taxes that we might pay. Like, how can we give our time, energy, effort into the schools? But also, if we're working within the schools itself, I'm thinking about this, we have like our topics, we have social emotional learning as one of our big topics. And we have, diversity, equity, inclusion as one of our big topics, because not every member of our community feels valued. Not every member of our community feels seen. They feel heard, right? So it's not just connecting from the inside out or from the outside in. It's also, how do we communicate better within our own communities that we have? because we have micro communities, which are our classrooms, and then we have our macro communities, which are our schools and our greater community, right? But if I'm in a community itself, if I'm in a classroom as a teacher, if I'm in a classroom as a student, if I'm in a school as a principal, how can I better connect on the micro level and on the macro level and make sure all of our students are seen, valued, heard, and we look at who they are personally. So we're really excited about it because it's a very diverse topic, and it's something that I think a lot of people know a lot about, but it's also something that a lot of schools need help with. It's something that a lot of classrooms need help with. So I think we're going to be able to provide a lot of value to whoever comes to this conference, and heck, apply to speak as well.
Yeah, Renee, I hope this is you, or I hope that you join us. And I love that she said I wouldn't have been able to do it without this forum. And I just want to bring up the point that, like, I think all three of us are pretty, we talk about these things regularly, and it can be something that we take for granted. There's still a lot of people who don't get to talk about anything, and they are still in those silos, and it's very hurtful. So Renee, again, I just want to give you a shout out. I'd be lying if I didn't say I hope you don't win the ticket tonight, because I kind of do, but I don't get to decide who wins the ticket tonight. But we are actually going to, so what's going to happen right now, and I just want to thank you all again, everybody in our community. Hey, Amanda, good to see you. Another good person in our community. Oh, hello, signing up as we speak. I love it. All right. So what's going to happen right now is I'm just going to roll through the comments, and Dr. Sarah Thomas, our special guest tonight, is just going to say stop. She has no idea who I'm going to land on, but whose ever comment I land on is going to get not only a free registration for themselves, but a free registration for a friend. And the friend can be a parent or a student. Like, we want this conference to be for everyone. We're trying to build up an entire community because we truly believe that a community is what is going to solve these problems that we are facing as a society. And we need everybody to be a part of it. Ooh, okay. Ooh, so love this page. Really good stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you are really hoping to win. All right, Dr. Sarah Thomas, I am going to go through, and you just say stop, and whoever I land on wins the free ticket.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Here we go. Ready, set, stop.
All right. It is. All right. Greg Dwyer. Congratulations, Greg Dwyer. And you're on Facebook. So will you please reach out to us? You can send a TeacherGoals, send it to our messenger, and we send us your email and your information, and we will make sure that you get that free registration for you and a friend. And congratulations, Greg. And everybody else, if you'd like to be a part of this conference, this is the salesy part, and I hope you don't mind, but there's an early bird pricing right now. If you go to www.teachergoals.com/conference, and if you sign up before February 1st, you can get in on that early bird special. But I just want to say, Dr. Sarah Thomas, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like, I love sharing space with you. I've only got to meet you in person a couple of times, but it's always been amazing. And I've got to share space with you a lot, but I promise you that I learn from you every single time. And I love you so much. Thank you so much. And Brad, thank you for being here too. I know you've been a little bit under the weather, so I'm so glad that you were able to make it tonight. But before we say goodbye, do you have any last words that you'd like to share with us?
Just thanks for being here, and thanks for the opportunity to be here to talk about this, and just to meet you and hear about the great things that you're doing in your organization. And we're all in it together. All these educators are in this together. We all have the best interest of kids in mind, and to do that, we have to feed the adults, we have to work with the adults, we have to support the adults who work with kids. So I really love that that's what we do. And if we don't take care of our adults, we don't take care of our teachers, we don't take care of our educators, then we have a harder time taking care of our kids and our students. So that's what I want to throw out there. And I'm so glad that your organization really helps the adults, who can then help the kids. But I want everyone to help the adults, inside and outside of the school. We really need to be supportive of our educators right now, because it's a tough time.
Totally. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you for everything that you all do as well. Like, super inspired by everything that TeacherGoals and the whole community does. And thank you all for having me. Thank you to everybody for tuning in.
All right. Thank you.
And with that, we will say good night, and we will see you next time we go live. See you next time, everybody.